Podcast City Network.
This is Final Score, your number one podcast for sports news. Here are your hosts, Chris and Craig.
Hey guys, we're here for another exciting episode of Final Score, episode 56. That's right, we are at part 5 of Sports Movie Madness. It has been a crazy ride all the way to this point, having whittled down our list of 64 movies, and tonight we're going to get it down to just 4. That's right, our final 4 for Sports Movie Madness. I don't know about you guys, but I am super excited. But let's not forget the rest of the guys that are with me over here. To your left, my right, will be none other than my co-host, Craig. How you doing, Craig?
I'm doing great, man. We had a little struggle early today with the attempt at Twitch streaming, but it's still been a great weekend. I'm looking forward to hearing the Final Four, and it's gonna be fun. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be great stuff, man. I can't wait. And of course, we can't forget the one person who actually brought this idea to us, and man, I tell you, we all took it and ran. And that's none other than George DeMoy of the Couch Dads podcast. How you doing, George?
Doing good, boys. I'm doing good, man. I'm excited to get into the Final Four. I've got my lucky puck here, ready to go. I've got my own goat. This is our own goat right here. Jaromir Jagr is my goat, and I'm stoked, man. This has been one hell of a ride, and I can't wait. Can't wait to see who our audience voted for.
Oh yeah, and it's definitely pretty surprising. We'll see how it turns out, but we have one more person we have to bring on. That is none other than Kevin Wathen of the Rugby Review. How you doing, bud?
What's up, boys?
So
you got the special guest with us tonight. We got Marley.
I'll say, it looked like you had a goat in your lap.
This is the goat, not a goat. The goat. We're not talking about Tom Brady in Florida. We're talking about the best goat in the state of Florida. Showed up knocking on my doorstep. He was lost. Wasn't the right house, but we took him in, found him a home.
Very nice. Can't go wrong with that. I tell you what. But you know what?
It's gonna be the new mascot for the Jacksonville Axemen going forward. No more dogs.
Sure.
No more cats. Goats.
Yeah, mess with a goat.
For sure.
Tell you what, killing me with a goat, man. That's awesome. Wish I had me go. I'm gonna get me a nice pot-bellied pig one day, though. Just wait. I'm going to bring it right here on the show. It's probably going to wreck everything, but I tell you what, it'll be fun and exciting. But anyways, though, got a lot of great stuff planned for tonight. And to make sure that you follow us, that you know all things Final Score, you have to follow us on social media. To do that, you have to go on to Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, or Instagram at PCN Final Score. Give us a like, give us a follow, give us a share, send some invites, just schmooze with the peoples. Come on and check out everything we got going on, because Final Score is where it's at for sports podcasting, and you can also check us out on all of our myriad of content platforms, including Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, TuneIn, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and of course Apple Podcasts. Go on to any of those platforms and make sure to give us a follow. All you have to do is search keyword Final Score, one word, and you'll be able to find us there. And none of it really would be possible either without Podcast City Network. You can find them all over social media and at their website at podcastcity.net. Go over there, check out everything they have to offer, and all the other great shows that we have on the network. A lot of great stuff. But I tell you what, we're going to get to the rest of it later because I don't have enough breath, and I'm pretty sure Craig just froze. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump into the Rugby Review. What do you got for us tonight, Kevin?
Another week, another flurry of news coming at us at all fronts, especially in the NRL. Going off of what we were talking about last episode about them restarting May 28th, and a lot of people have drawn out and criticized that return, saying it's too early. They need to go with the doctor's protocols on this. They need to basically continue the stay-at-home orders and go forth with that. They don't need to be restarting so early. But I'm with the players on this one. If the players want to sign off on this and go forward and restart May 28th and start earning that paycheck again, and bring the essential workers some entertainment, something to watch, some type of hope, some type of momentum, I'm all for that. New Zealand players from the New Zealand Warriors team that's based there in the NRL, they're heading to Tamsworth this afternoon. They boarded a flight. A lot of mixed emotions as they boarded that flight this afternoon as they headed to New South Wales in Australia from New Zealand. A lot of them, I was watching videos this afternoon, a lot of them donning masks as they say goodbye to family members, to wives, to kids, as they head to Australia to continue training. When they get to New South Wales, they're going to be put on a 14-day isolation period where they can train amongst a team, but they have to stay isolated from everyone else for a 14-day period before that May 28th kickoff. So hopefully things will get back to normal and people will start to see that things have to go back to the way they were. We can't stay at these stay-at-home orders forever with this, and sports is going to get back to sports. Things are going to get back to normal. People got to agree to that and adjust to that, and obviously it's got to be a slow adjustment. We got to take all the experts' advice in, but let's get back to playing ball. And the guys are for it, the players are for it. They boarded a plane, they said goodbye to their family members. They're in Australia right now, starting their 14-day training period. So these are all positive signs we see in the NRL moving forward. Tamsworth, for our listeners who don't know where that's located, that's in New South Wales. It's also known as like the country music capital of Australia. So it's something similar to Nashville that we have here in the States. And a lot of other teams are experiencing this turmoil. It's not just the New Zealand Warriors because they're having to travel from a different country to continue their competition. Melbourne is also run into some problems. They actually applied to go forth and start training, and they were denied their request from the Victorian government there, there in Victoria. So they had to relocate their entire training grounds to Albury or Mowawa, which is in New South Wales, and I probably butchered the pronunciation of those two cities.
I wasn't going to say anything, but...
Hopefully the Aussie fans don't send you some mail, man.
I know, right? They're probably
they're pretty wicked, just saying.
Yeah. But the two sides are split up. Like I talked about in the State of Origin series, you have Queensland and New South Wales. New South Wales is giving the green light right now for these teams to train and get back to training and do their 14 days and then commence with the kickoff being May 28th. The rest of these teams in Queensland are having to relocate, like the Melbourne Storm, up to New South Wales to continue training. That's like if you told the New England Patriots, hey, you can't train in New England anymore, you got to relocate to New York City to commence your training, or you got to relocate down to Miami. So they're having to pick up an entire professional organization, move their training, move their players, and it's a 3-hour drive roughly to where they're relocating to. So it's not too bad, but it's still an inconvenience to put these players and fans and everything else and all this admin and having to relocate over 3 hours. I mean, to me, it's not that big of a deal, but obviously Queensland and Victoria see it differently, so we got to abide by the government's orders on that one. And the last team I'm going to talk about in the NRL that's experiencing some turmoil right now and how to adjust during this period is the Canberra Raiders. And the CEO, Don Kerner, actually brought up some good points that he was talking about. And it goes into the insight of biosecurity measures. And I don't know if you guys have looked into this, but I've been reading and listening to a lot of podcasts this week and reading a bunch of articles. And I noticed that they're taking measures as to far as who's being tested and who's not being tested during these COVID measures. And this is going to be brought up big time in the sports world. Are we going to go to a system like a chip in our arm that says you've been tested, you're cleared, you're good to go? Because there is some reports coming out in places of the world like China, even here in the United States, where somebody has been infected by COVID-19 and then they get the disease again. So it's their second time having it. And there's a few reports coming out of that, and that scary thought as to what liberties and freedoms are we going to give up to help screen sports fans as they come into a venue, help screen athletes as they compete in a close-knit collision sport like football, even basketball. I mean, you're in close quarters. You're not 6 feet apart when you're in the paint trying to dunk on somebody or offer a layup. These players are going to have to be tested, and how do you test them? And how do you go forth doing that? So it's trying to establish a new norm, and the NRL's the first to do it. So I think everyone's sitting back kind of criticizing, but no one else has tried this before, and this is unprecedented. So let's give them some grace on the news they're trying to make, and let's support them, and let's go forth on that. But other than that, on the domestic home front, I got to speak with a phenomenal friend, player. He's a Marine veteran. His name is David Olch. He played with Tampa for years, and I played on the same side with him in all-star matches. I've also played against him when we played against Tampa. We played against the Renegades this past season. He decided he's, I believe, stationed right in that Lakeland area. So he brought forth the idea, hey, why don't we start up a program here? And he had the right people. And it's awesome to have the right people in your court, because when you go to network, it makes things so much easier. And I sat down in the first interview, the first question I asked him, he's like, oh, I had this guy in England I was friends with. I had this guy in Australia that I was friends with. And it kind of all fell together. And there's a point I bring up in the end of the interview. I want you guys to pay, to our listeners and to you guys, I want you guys to pay close attention to what I'm talking about in the end of the interview. The Renegades will be a team that we're going to see have success in the USARL. It may not be this past season. If you look at their score lines, it may not be this next season when we commence and have a regular format with a full season. But these years to come, they've done everything right. They have good product. They have a good field. They have good sponsorships that follow them in Lakeland. Lakeland's a small-knit community. For those of you guys haven't been to Florida or driven through Lakeland, you would miss it. Going from Orlando to Tampa, you miss it. It's such a small team. The reason I know Lakeland very much so, since I moved down here at 10 years of age, the Lakeland Flying Tigers play there. And that is the spring training grounds for the best team in the Major League Baseball.
That's right.
Let's not get carried away on that.
Yeah, repping that spring training.
George, not last year. Not last year.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking. Yeah. We're talking past, like we do at most Detroit sports. We're talking past tense.
Yeah, that's right.
I have so many Michigan, Detroit fans.
Before I was born.
Hey, you can't say anything. You have a minor league team out attending your Miami Marlins down there in Miami in the
I'd
jungle.
say nothing. I've already turned in my Miami Marlins card when they, built that horrible stadium with that sculpture of
You didn't
the
like
gaudiest sculpture ever.
the flamingos dancing and the
Yeah,
dolphins
the flamingo or whatever the hell it was. Somebody should just shoot it. Like I just saw it. And
Don't hold
kids
back.
flying over, and I was like, somebody get their rifle and shoot that thing.
They shouldn't have like the reggaeton horn going off as they're doing like the.
I converted myself when I got married to Boston faithful Red Sox.
Yeah.
I'm a big Boston Red Sox fan, so that's where I went.
Go Bo Sox.
Was that before or after they won the championship? After that 81-year drought.
It was before.
Okay.
Yes.
Before.
Okay. I accept
So
it.
it was before.
Yeah. You're not like the typical New Englander fans that just jump on the bandwagon when the time's right.
Mm-hmm. I went through at least three bad years, and then they won it.
At least 3 badges.
I know that pain. I was there too. I know it. But man, kill me with that. But we do have that interview here with David Alt, so we're definitely going to play that right now. Enjoy.
All right, I'd like to welcome on the show tonight is episode 56, the Lakeland Renegades edition. We have the owner, player, coach, manager, marketer, everything. David Olch, welcome to the show tonight.
Appreciate it. Oh yeah, I only play one role on there. All those other ones are all those other people that do all the work behind the curtain.
Starting to delegate some roles out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what brought you into rugby? How'd you come into this, becoming an owner of a rugby league team in the USARL?
Well, first off, I started off with rugby, playing rugby union when I was in the Marine Corps, and then when I got out, moved down here to Tampa, played with the crew for a couple of seasons, and then started playing with the Mayhem. Played there for, was it 4 or 5 seasons, and then jumped over. Bert Stevens, who jumped on the team with the Mayhem with me the last season there. He said, "Hey, I have an owner that can come in, Ted Kuntz of Red Team Sports," and he jumped in and decided, "Hey, let's form a team in Lakeland." Figured there's a lot of talent here in Lakeland with a lot of football prevalent around here. We can grab those guys, and the newly formed rugby union team that's formed out here with the Lakeland Lancers too. Guys can jump codes and play back and forth and everything. So it's been pretty good so far.
And it kind of fills the void that was left by the Central Florida Warriors, who used to be a part of the USARL, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, because when they left, luckily the Southwest Florida Copperheads jumped in the competition the year after the Warriors left, and so but you see you're starting to get a good core down here in Florida, 4 teams down here just in the state of Florida itself, and we're looking to hopefully build our team up, and then hopefully influence other cities around the state to go ahead and build up programs too, so it'll be easy for travel and have more competition, more playing time, better athletes to get. So.
Did you have many Warrior players jump over?
Yeah, we had a couple. Didn't last the full season. A couple of them got hurt. But I mean, we tried to get a couple of them. One of them was Bart Longchamp. He came over to Tampa for one season. And then we tried to get him over. We were like, hey, we're closer to Orlando than Tampa, but he's like, no, I'm gonna stay with Tampa, which we don't blame him. But it was but yeah, we grabbed a few of them to help us out a little bit the first year.
So, going back a little bit, you said you're a part of the Marines. What made you make that decision? Was that right out of high school?
No, it was about second year. I went for a year down in Wayne State University in Detroit, and then when I left out of there, that was probably 2004 when I enlisted. Decided to go in. That's when the whole push in Iraq and everything was going on, and I got excited and decided to enlist.
Born and raised up in Michigan?
Yep. Well, not born and raised, but mostly raised in Detroit and Lincoln Park there, just south of Detroit. So a bit different up there than compared to down here, weather-wise.
You support all the Michigan sports teams? Got your
yeah. Tigers, Lions, Red Wings, all of them guys. Yep.
What about green versus blue? Gotta ask it.
Oh, blue.
Okay. All day.
my dad was a huge Wolverines fan, so I had to go along with it.
Yeah. You should have.
Granted, I got my bachelor's. I got my bachelor's from USF, so that's kind of green, but oh well.
Yeah. That's why I definitely put on the T-shirt for you.
Oh yeah.
You graduated from USF, so I had to rep the UCF today.
Roll that in my face, man.
You should have used that story with Bart. Like, hey, you have to drive through Lakeland to get to Tampa. Hey, I'm a Michigan fan. Like, you'd have to drive through Ann Arbor from Lincoln Park to get out to East Lansing. No, of course.
We tried. There are a couple of us said to him, like, man, you gotta go through Lakeland to get to Tampa. You can jump with us. But
you got a lot on your plate right now with this COVID thing, the stay-at-home order, because you're some admin, right? You're an admin at a school down there in Polk County.
Yeah. I'm a dean at a local high school here. So during that time, I'm basically busy making sure our seniors are catching up on their schoolwork, making sure they're graduating on time, getting their classes done, and then also the underclassmen too. I'm there to support all the teachers that have difficulty with the online stuff because it is a bit of a transition from going all classrooms to now all online, and so we're just there to support both the teachers, students, everybody else involved. So it's been pretty busy lately.
Yeah, got a lot on your plate trying to manage rugby league that apparently is coming back. Because did you hear the NRL starting back up at the end of May? And then I'm getting rumors right now. I'm getting thoughts and some messages, some text messages, not only from the players but also from the coaches that the USARL might be back soon. So, what do you think about
Mhm.
that? Do you think we should get back
Well,
to the games?
that's the goal, isn't it? Oh yeah, the NRL. When I found out that was coming back on the, I think 28th, they said the first games. I was really excited about it because I got into it when the season first started, back in March. But then when they told us we were delayed in the USARL for it, we had to decide, what was going to be the next step forward. Obviously got to be precautious in this type of situation. And we'll see eventually how it goes along. I would love for us to have a season, so our guys can get some needed experience on the field. It gives us, more playing time under our belt so we can develop each year. That's the biggest thing. Introduce new guys into the sport, get them involved, get them looked at, by retro the U.S. team and everything, and spread this awesome sport. That's the biggest thing.
Wait, let's back that up a little bit. The USA team that you were a part of, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I'm not in play.
So the Renegades
but I'm also a realist too. I'm getting up in age, so I like to have those younger guys fill in and build up and help them with their experience. And that's my biggest goal playing with the Renegades is develop those younger guys, give them the opportunity to have, like I had back in 2017, to go to Australia, the World Cup and everything in Papua New Guinea. Give them that opportunity, teach them some of the things they need to know and what they need to train on in order to get better, so they can have that opportunity in 2025 and everything else, and have the opportunity to wear the red, white, and blue.
How was that participating
in
in 2017 World Cup?
Experience of a lifetime too, because it just came out of nowhere. It was one of those things where it's like, okay, well, I had to take a year off because of a heart surgery, heart operation, so I had to take a year off. Came back into it, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna try my best, work out hard, and see where it goes. And then halfway through the season, there was a little inkling saying that I was possibly looked at for the U.S. team, just for the U.S. team. It wasn't even the World Cup, wasn't even in the mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And then each game I was improving, getting better, getting better, getting better. Then they said, you got selected for the Jamaica and Canada game, and that's when I realized, like, holy crap, like this could actually happen. And then when I got picked for Australia, it was it was awesome going there. I mean, it was rabid the way the fan base was, especially in Papua New Guinea. The national sport there, they're absolutely nuts. They're crazy. Everywhere we went, kids were playing it just on they're passing on the dirt fields on the side of the road, and it was an experience of a lifetime. It was great.
Now, seeing what you experienced out there in Papua New Guinea and seeing those young kids play the game, and being in Australia and watching the youth play the game, is there anything that you're trying to start up there in Lakeland with getting the youth involved?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we actually teamed up. Us, the Renegades, we teamed up with the local union team, the Lakeland Lancers, and we're getting in. We have a connection with Bartow, city of Bartow, and they've come forward and said, yeah, we would love to help you guys, assist you guys in developing a program. So we've already had one clinic already set up. We had another clinic set up at the beginning of April, but obviously we had to cancel that because of COVID and the situation that's going on. But we're slowly one small amount, 10 kids, but it's where the biggest thing is just getting those kids out there and getting a ball in their hand. It will eventually, give them, teach them the rules and everything like that as we go along, but just get that ball in their hand, let them have fun, let them enjoy the game. They'll see it's a good sport they have a lot of fun in, and it has a lot of connections to football. And like I said, here in King, I mean, just down south here is King, but here in Polk County, it's one of the biggest sports. So by having that connection, saying that, hey, they just get done playing football in the November, December, we can start something up come February, March, and get going further into it, so they can continue their development when it comes into a contact sport. And what better than rugby?
Yeah, I wish more FHSAA coaches would see the light in the end of the tunnel. Like, when I send my kids off in the fall, I can have them in a contact sport and still stay within the rules and regulations of the FHSAA. Have my kid in a contact sport like rugby that teaches proper tackling, head out of the contact, not across the body, less concussions, less injury prone, and they're able to keep their body conditioned to a tackling sport, which is what they play in the fall. Because I know, me being a football coach, I usually send my kids off to the track program. Yes, they come back faster, but they usually lose a lot of that muscle and a lot of that fast twitch and ability to tackle and ability to have that secondhand nature with tackling. The biggest thing, and they come back basically a fresh kid back from summer. So I would love, even myself as a football coach, I would love to keep my kid in a contact sport year round.
And that's something I wish too. I wish we had some sort of connection where we could link that up in high schools, where high schools could take the. I know private schools right now, those private institutions and stuff like that, they go ahead and develop. Some of them are able to develop their rugby programs, and then you have your under 19 teams and stuff like that. But I would love for public high schools to get more involved in, because realistically, that's where you have a lot of your athletes. You have a lot of high quality football players that, in the off season, all they're doing is sitting around, or they might be just lifting weights, or they won't have spring games until later on, like April, May. So you have that 3-4 month window where kids can develop, and like you said, working on tackling and those type of things, tackling techniques, just to run a play, even just get in better shape. I mean, both of you and I both know that in rugby league you got to be fit. That's just a requirement. You can't just be out of shape and just walk out there and expect to do something, because that's not gonna happen. And so I would love for the schools to get more on board with that, and be a little bit more open minded to sport of rugby, because worried about a lot of schools are kind of hands off with it when it comes to liability and stuff like that, and so we can kind of change that persona a little bit, and I think we can kind of change that when it comes to that youth development, from starting from a young age, as they grow up, and we start going from touch to touch and tag to wrap and tackling and everything. Then the kids will start realizing, and the parents will realize, this is not as dangerous as what we thought it was. And that's the thing. It's just educating. I think just educating those kids, those parents on what the sport's about and what it's like. Then you'll start seeing a lot of minds change, and it'll creep into it. It's just going to take some time. That's all.
Yeah. And you've actually done a pretty good job of recruitment there in the Lakeland area. First year out, you're bringing 20 plus guys up to Jacksonville to play full-sided games. I never heard any problems come out of Lakeland as far as getting players to those matches and playing all the games, both home and away. How were you able to do that first season out? Because I know it's troubling for a lot of teams to start up. And I know back in years past, we had the minor league system, the Orlando Adrenaline, the Daytona Gearheads, the Jacksonville Hatchets, that were trying to feed into that major programs. But you, right out of the gate, you got guys showing up, playing full-side matches with subs coming onto the field. How were you able to do that?
Well, we had a pretty good the Lakeland Lancers helped us out a little bit with that, because they were established about a year before the Renegades started. So I'd say about 25% of our players came from the Lancers. But on top of that, we were going literally gym to gym, guys we knew, any type of connection that we can make. We had a lot of support. Bert Stevens had a great job. He's a personal trainer himself, so he's the one that actually had a big impact of going out there recruiting a lot of guys. Ted Kuntz, the owner, he helped us out a lot as far as getting out there, as far as recruitment, and trying to create that atmosphere that this is the highest level of rugby league in the United States. And when you come out, this is what we expect. We have a certain type of expectation to it, and they guys are excited to be out there. They have fun. We have fun, especially when we go on away trips and go up to Atlanta and stuff like that, and home games. It's that camaraderie that you have amongst a group of the guys. And that's what we're trying to promote. I mean, you're not dealing with kids, you're dealing with full-grown men, right? And there's got to be some sort of motivation to get them out there. And rugby league is a great sport, love it. But a lot of people are there, they enjoy it too for that camaraderie and everything. So that's a good mix right there, and that's what drives a lot of guys to come out. And we had a few. Our core group of guys last year, they're still together. We have a good group of 10, 12 guys. Last year that played every single game. Guys got hurt, and we had to fill in some of the other guys with subs and everything like that. And it was good to have that core group there that was consistently there, that helped out with their development. You saw it. The more they played, the better they got. And it's going to be interesting. We keep recruiting more guys, athletic guys that come out. We keep our core group of guys by bringing in new guys that are willing to learn the sport and everything. give this about 4 or 5 years, and I think this will be one heck of a program to stay consistent with it. So
if it continues with the trend, because I know myself as a player, I think you guys came up to us first and we played against Lakeland. And the second time seeing some of these guys, their skill, their knowledge was just out of the gates. I mean, it was so far past that first game. You would have thought from start the season to end of the season that some of these guys have been playing for 3 years now. It just seemed like that much time has passed because that much knowledge had been gained by some of these young players. And I think me and you even talked after one of the games is like, how are these guys adapting to the game? They're grasping it so well. And I think you were telling me most of these guys are ex-football players that come out here and they can grasp the great game very well because the two games are so similar.
Yeah, they're very similar, and that's like I said, a lot of those guys are prior football players, so they have that constantly go type of mentality when it comes to football. Obviously, we just got to slow that down, ingrain them more into that rugby league format, right? Of what we've been working with all the time. But we also have a lot of assistance with Mike Brogan, our coach Mike Brogan, their coach. He integrated a lot of St. Helens practice type of strategies and everything that he brought in, and that helped out tremendously. A lot of resources, and so we've announced earlier this year that we had that link up with St. Helens, and that link up is through him as far as that coaching pathway, as far as introducing us into those new coaching strategies that were brought in that helps us develop. And we have guys too, like I said, a lot of it has to do with the athletes. A lot of our guys are eager to learn about the sport. Guys that go home and watch the game and learn about it, or they rewatch a video. That's why it's so big to have the games, recorded that we can see them on YouTube, so guys can look at it and be like, oh, okay, this is how it's set up. And guys ask questions and everything like that. So we definitely saw. I mean, we started off the season pretty well. We lost to Tampa the first game only by I think it was like maybe 12 points, and that was a lot closer than we originally thought, because it was our very first game in existence. And then we beat Atlanta the next game. And then we went up to you guys and we got killed, but the expectation was, to go out there, we got to gain experience. Every game was about gaining that playing time, and then those guys were learning every single game as the season went along, and they became more and more confident. And you could see that too. So,
I think the biggest, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think the biggest recruitment tool you have with these football players, if they play collegiately, you're like, did you make it to the top level? No, you didn't make it to NFL or one of these arena leagues. Let me get you into a sport that can get you onto the USA platform, where you can travel to places like you've been, Papua New Guinea and Australia. And you just told me you were playing, but only a couple years, and you got picked up by the USA team. And just telling them from your story, I bet that's an awesome recruitment tool you got in your back pocket. Like, you can make the USA ranks. It's not going to take very long. You can make it there as long as you commit yourself to being the best player, putting the right things in your body, working out, training. Because like you said, that's 80 minutes. You got to go full out, and you got to show those coaches you can go full out for 80 minutes.
And then there's, like I said, there's guys that have the talent. They just need. We have several guys on our team that have the talent where they could get looked at for the U.S. team. And a couple of them, I would actually say, if they wanted to take this even further, to go ahead and jump on a plane and go over to Oz, or go over to England and join in one of the minor league teams. Because Andrew Zula, I got to play with him a couple of years ago on the Mayhem. He took off and went to Australia and got a ton of experience playing on those different levels. And there's a couple guys on our team right now that I think personally could make it out there and gain a ton of experience. And then they try to see how far out they go, and then when they decide, they come back and play with us and kick butt. But but that's the biggest goal, is trying to get those guys that maybe played at a college level in football, or guys that were high level in high school, and they're not playing anymore. It's like, hey, this is a good opportunity for you. You were good in that sport. This sport is very similar to that. All we got to do is teach you, transition you, and boom, there's possibilities. I mean, we've seen with several guys in the USARL, they went over to Europe and played. They went to Australia and played for a couple of years, and they can make their way out, make their way up. I mean, Joe Eichner, Ryan Burroughs, all those guys, making their way overseas, and getting that experience. And it's something that we definitely dive into, and guys know. It just depends on how serious they want to take it.
Mm-hmm. Being able to just put yourself on the other side of the world and play a game that you love, play a game period at that age and at that level is exciting. So I know the Axemen in past years has brought over a lot of international players. You being a previous player at Tampa, you saw that firsthand when he came out to Jacksonville to play us. Are you looking at any international players coming in for this shortened season, or maybe you're targeting some players to come over for 2021?
Well, that's more of a question for Vert, but from what I was talking about when I was talking to him before, we were looking at a couple imports to bring in. I guess one from Australia and possibly one that was from France. And they would one of our sponsors is Carlton Arms in South Lakeland there that would help us when it comes to the housing part of it with those guys. But yeah, we were trying this year to bring in those imports because we've in the past, like I said, with Tampa, our spine of our group, Hooker have mostly always been imports because they're most experienced. They've had the most experience, and that's something that we kind of lacked last year, where you got me playing half, I'm not a half, but me playing half for Hooker. But having those guys there, they help keep the flow of the game going, right? Because they know our guys learn off them. We read off them because they're quick with it, and that brings us up a level too. And it's good to have those imports. I love having imports because, like I said, they know the game, and you learn from them very, very quickly. You read the game differently when you have them around because they read it, and then you can read off them and go off it and go from there. So it's good to have those guys here and integrate with our guys just to up the level, which is always good, always good.
And you got that connection now with England, Mike Brogan being from England, if I'm not mistaken. And then that partnership you have with St. Helens. You want to give us kind of like a brief rundown of what that partnership entails or how that came about?
Yeah, well, I actually all went through Mike last year when he came out and he was interested in coaching the Renegades and helped us get through the season. We learned a lot more from him because he's had a lot of experience with the youth over dealing with St. Helens over in England. So he's got a lot of experience dealing with the youth in those programs. So him bringing it over here, bringing a different coaching style and the different strategies that I was never introduced to. I've been introduced more of an Australian type of style, I guess, if you want to say it, or different types. So it was kind of refreshing to see something different brought into camp. But with this one, he brought got St. Helens involved in where this has become basically a coaching pathway where it introduces us to the structure of what St. Helens uses for training from the youth all the way up to the professional level. So it gives us a lot of resources basically to kind of model off of how they do it, what we can use here.
And you're one of few teams that does it here in USARL South, because I know Atlanta is teamed up with the Leeds Rhinos.
Yeah.
I don't think Tampa has a affiliate yet.
They used to be the Rochdale Hornets. Now I'm not sure if that's still going, but they were with the Rochdale Hornets if I remember right.
So that's good. You got the youth building. You got Mike in here helping out. You creating those links. You bringing that youth experience to the table. And I think I agree with you 100%. 4 or 5 years down the road, we're going to be talking about the Renegades at the same pace we're talking about the Axemen right now in today's league. You're going to see the Renegades come out of nowhere, and I think they're going to take over the league because you guys are doing a good job at the youth roots, the grassroots. You guys are doing a good job of recruiting these top-level players and hopefully bringing in internationals to kind of shore up all those weak spots in the lineup. So I think you guys are onto the right thing down there. And just before we leave, I know we've been doing the sports movie madness here on the show. I got to ask you, Rucho's was kind of weak. We got to Billy. He gave us a little bit better choices for all-time favorite sports movie. But what is yours, David?
All-time favorite sports movie. It's not a rugby movie, but favorite sports movie, I would have to say Miracle on Ice. That's by far my favorite sports movie. It motivated the heck out of me.
I wouldn't even expect less because you're a Wings fan. So.
Oh yeah.
It had to be a hockey movie.
It had to be a hockey movie.
I showed my wife Slapshot for the first time like 2 nights ago.
God.
Yeah, she loved it. She loved it. Absolutely loved it. I was like, I don't know. It's kind of like, I don't know.
Well, you should show her Goon.
Oh, that's coming next. Yep.
That's a good one.
Got to follow it up. Yep. We'll
Yeah.
just do like a hockey movie madness next.
Exactly. There you
all
go.
the best hockey movies.
Hockey's my second favorite sport, so I'm all about hockey.
I appreciate you being on the show. Is there any sponsors or fans out there in Lakeland want to find you guys?
Well, we have a bunch of new ones coming up that we're going to be announcing later on. But Red Team Sports, obviously, Ted Kuntz is the owner, so Red Team Sports is our huge sponsor that actually helped us get this going. So they're our biggest ones. Polk Sports Marketing helps us out as far as finding a field, at the high school there, and helps us out with promoting that. Let's see, GNC, a local GNC here in Lakeland, recently got Federal Bar as their social location, which is right downtown Lakeland, which is awesome. The owner there actually is a St. Helens fan, so he's from England, so he jumped right on board with that. And obviously, I said before, Carlton Arms out of Lakeland helping us with the housing for the imports when we get those imports. So those are some of the biggest ones.
All right. Well, I appreciate you being on the show tonight. Hope to see you soon on the field. Hopefully we can.
Oh, definitely.
Yep.
Be ready for a hit up.
Sounds good. Have a good night.
All right, you too, man.
Man, I tell you what, that definitely was a great interview. Really great stuff, and a lot of great information. A lot of fun stuff, Kevin. I tell you what, these interviews are always awesome, man. I can't wait to see what you bring us next week.
I appreciate it. Next week, we're actually going to jump on 75 there in Tampa for all of you guys that know the familiar drive, and we're going to head north all the way up to Atlanta. We're going to talk to a gentleman by the name of Nick Newland, who has run everything rugby league out of Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And this dude has played Rugby League World Cup on the same level as Ulch and been the captain of the USA Hawks team for several years now. Always a good leader. I've played beside him in many key games and been shoulder to shoulder with this dude. And I couldn't meet a better competitor.
Mm-hmm.
I always like good competitors. I don't like somebody to come up to me and be all friendly and soft. I like to put it, and my teammates kind of get aggravated with me because I'm the type of player that during practice, we're talking about practice now. I like to get into it. Like, no lie, I like to get into it, push and shove my teammates, get into it. Like,
yeah, I remember.
I know, like. Every play like it's your last. Like, that has been ingrained into me, and I want to push my teammates, my athletes, the same fashion, because you never know. You could go down in practice during that play and do something catastrophic that causes you to lose your playing mobility. So I just always kept that ingrained in my head. So I go 100% all the time. Like, if you're not looking, I'm going to knock your ass out.
Snap! And he ain't lying. I've seen him do it, guys.
He's not AI. He's not talking about practice.
Talking about practice.
He's like the Rudy version of rugby all the time. 100%. He's going to knock you out.
Oh, man. I tell you what, that's crazy stuff. But sadly, though, we will not have a top 5 this week. We're very busy people over here. Sometimes things happen, but we will have one later this week. So definitely make sure that you check back on all of our social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the whole shebang, at PCN Final Score. Definitely make sure to give us a like and follow. That way you can see that, as well as it being posted on our beautiful new YouTube page. Go on to YouTube and search PCN Final Score. You can follow us there and give us a nice subscription and check out all the great content we have there. We're going to be putting tons and tons of stuff up there. It is going to take a while. My computer can only do so much. She is a good girl, but she is an old girl. So at the end of the day, please bear with us. We will get it all up eventually. Just going to take a little bit. But in the meantime, you can always check us out on PodChaser. You can go over to podchaser.com and search keyword final score, one word, and give us a follow, rating, and review over there, as well as finding us on Bullhorn, which you can download on your Android or Apple devices. Search keyword final score, again, one word, and give us a follow and a listen. And, a lot of this is not possible without Radius Digital Media. And, of course, I am horrible right now because I do not even have the notes in front of me. But, I'm so good at what I do.
You. I got you.
Oh, you got it? You got me this week? You get it.
I got you this week. Yeah, we're giving a shout out to Radius Digital Marketing and the guys, Alec and Sean. They have been really, really helpful in helping us build our brand and expanding our audience on social networking. They specialize in ad management, lead generation, brand awareness, and social media marketing. If you're looking to take your business to the next level, contact Alec at alekanuzis@radiusdm.com, ALEKANUZIS @radius.com for more information.
Most def. Awesome stuff. I tell you what, it's really great all the stuff we've been able to pull off lately with the show and with the network. Been a lot of great stuff and a lot of new things that we are going to be debuting here soon. So definitely make sure that you keep your eyes peeled. I know I've been extremely busy these last 48 to 72 hours with a lot of things behind the scenes. So definitely make sure to stay tuned. A lot of announcements are going to be coming over the next few weeks. So definitely stay peeled. I'm so excited. I don't know how I haven't told anybody yet, except, for like the other 5 people in my house and, a couple others outside of that. And, well, it is what it is. But you know what we need to get to? We need to get to sports movie madness because we are through our Elite Eight. We already have the results and we're going to announce our Final Four. And there's been so much insanity with this. As you see on your screen right now, you can see each of our remaining regions as we get to the finals of each region with Remember the Titans and the Waterboy going head-to-head in Region 1, Rocky and the Sandlot in Region 2, White Men Can't Jump and Space Jam in Region 3, and Mighty Ducks and Happy Gilmore in Region 4. I tell you what, this was pretty surprising. We actually had a really good turnout for this one. What do you guys think about this one? Who do you know what? Let's get to the big thing here. Region 1, Remember Titans and Waterboy. George, who do you think the fans went with?
I gotta be honest, I was thinking they were gonna go comedy and Waterboy, but you know what? I went back, I did some research, I rewatched both movies. As a matter of fact,
good man.
If you go to @CouchDadsPod on Twitter, I did a quick Twitter review for every single one of the Elite Eights, so you can take a look at that, comment, tell me if I'm nuts or not, it doesn't matter. I really think that Remember the Titans, the combination that Remember the Titans had with the comedic lines, the dramatic speeches, and a soundtrack that uses every single overused song in movies history. It's always used. Every single one of these songs is overused, but because they put them all together in one, it doesn't matter. It makes the soundtrack phenomenal. I think the fans went with Remember the Titans. It's funny and dramatic. It's too good, man. It's too good.
Oh man, he said it's too good. Craig, do you agree?
I agree. I vouched for this movie to be the #1 movie in Region 1 when we did the selection process. Shocker, I think it moves on, and I think they represent in region from the football region in Final Four.
Oh snap. Kevin, are we making this a trifecta?
No, it stops at 2 and 1. We're picking the go-to movies. Waterboy, moving on.
Oh snap. I love it. I love it. But as you see here, we had Remember the Titans and the Waterboy going head-to-head in Region 1. And it was a decently close score, but sad to say, well, I mean, not in my opinion, but Remember the Titans moves on to the next round and hits our Final Four, only 2 wins away from winning the championship. I tell you what, it's going to be crazy. Now we move on to Region 2, where we have Rocky taking on the Sandlot. Craig, we're going to throw it to you first. How do you think the fans went with this?
I've been pulling for the Sandlot since day one. I was pulling for this to be higher than a 7 seed in the selection process. And I love all the upsets they have, but I think Rocky's just Rocky. I mean, Sandlot's a great cult classic for our age group, but we're talking about Rocky here.
Yeah, we are talking about Rocky here. I tell you what. George, do you agree?
Well, I mean, Craig seems to have a problem with my, seating, man. He's like, this movie should have been ranked higher, George. Do your research better, George. Please, man.
Damn, George.
You're the
You're
the Mel Kiper of sports movies.
Mel Kiper.
I am that knowledgeable and that annoying. I will take that. But you know what, man? We said it. Rocky is Rocky. Okay?
Yep.
And before Benny the Jet Rodriguez even put on PF Flyers, you know who had PF Flyers on and running those steps? Sylvester Stallone and Rocky.
Snap.
All right? I mean, we're talking about one of the best classic movies of all time. The Rocky struggle was just as real as Stallone's struggle, and you felt it in the camera work. A music montage and film editing that we make fun of today, but when it was first made, that was revolutionary in that sense. When it was first done like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's Rocky all the way, but Sandlot deserves to be here. It does. It beat out a few surprises, but you know what, man? It's still a classic. You go back to the Sandlot, and I bet you boys have the shirt. Don't lie to me, because you know I have it. But you all have the shirt of "You're Killing Me, Smalls."
Killing me.
Maybe.
So,
Kevin, you agree?
I say Rocky.
Oh, killing me. Kevin, you agree?
I agree. Sandlot should be here. I agree with that. It should definitely be here. Rocky should be moving forward because these dudes, these actors, these boxers in these movies, and I call them boxers, not actors in these movies, because they're enduring the same type of punishment that an actual boxer would endure. Sylvester Stallone is actually getting cuts on his face and getting popped, and he's enduring these injuries to succeed. And that's the reason I support actors like him. I support Stallone. I support actors like Tom Cruise because they're willing to put in the time and the extra effort just to make sure the movie is authentic. And Rocky is authentic. You can sit a boxer down and say, hey, look at this movie. Does it add up? Does all the points hit off? And they're going to say yes. Like, this is a good representation of what we do day in and day out. And this is what we look like after a fight. Like, there was that MMA movie that came out a couple years ago, the Never Back Down MMA movie. And it was so unrealistic to me. You're talking about MMA fighters in a tournament that are same day fighting and fighting the next day. That doesn't happen. Your face is gonna look like shredded cheese at the end of that. Like the next day or the day after. Like, come on. So Rocky all the way on that one.
That's a funny reference, man. I may or may have not been an extra on Never Back Down when I was in Orlando. I'm not gonna say if I was or if I wasn't.
Are you just throwing things out there at this point, or?
No, that's legit.
Now you gotta make me rewatch the movie.
Yeah, we're gonna look for you now. Oh my gosh, you kill me! You absolutely kill me. But you kill me. But there actually was a narrow, thin vote. So with Region 2, it was literally separated by a single vote. Literally one vote. That's how close this was. But Rocky will move on to the Final Four to face Remember the Titans, which is going to be a mammoth matchup for next week. What are you guys' thoughts? Kevin, you first.
Like I said before, Rocky all the way. Against Remember the Titans, though?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I can't go against Denzel on that one. I got to go with Denzel and his performance on that, and I'll still go back to that same episode of that scene of him going up to Gettysburg and speaking to his athletes, because that resonated with me as a football coach.
Oh, yeah.
I think it would resonate with a lot of people. They grew up during that time period. They know what it was like. They know how to face adversity, and those who haven't faced adversity, they definitely have these past few months. So they know the message in the story. You don't have to play football to get the message in the story. And it's not just about one issue; it's about multiple issues. So I think Remember the Titans moves on.
Oh man, that's huge. George, do you agree with that for this Final Four matchup?
based on how our audience has voted, I am going to agree with that. I'm going to roll with Kevin on that, and it comes to accessibility at this point. We're talking about the Final Four right now, boys, and you know what? We're going to go back and rewatch these. Remember the Titans is easily accessible on Disney Plus. All right, the Rocky movies are not so much, they're not as accessible. I have them because I have them on DVD. If you guys know what DVDs are, you guys know what DVDs are. Okay,
the kids that are watching,
yeah, just in case. DVDs is this disc, right?
Oh my god, you're killing me.
So it's not the rectangular plastic that you push into.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't need a rewind machine to push in rewind.
No, it's not. You don't have to do that.
You didn't tell us on the video story that you return it on rewind.
Yeah, exactly.
Just go to Blockbuster and you can find what you want.
Yeah, go. The red box that's right outside of the 7-Eleven around your street, go there, they'll have Rocky. The most you can do right now is go on YouTube and watch the music montages of all of them, which is a great way to watch all the Rocky movies if you want. But I really think our audience is going to resonate a little bit more with Remember the Titans and not so much with Rocky. I feel like it's going to be very close, and I think Remember the Titans might move on.
Oh man, that definitely would be crazy. Craig, your thoughts?
I think it's going to be a super close vote, but it'll probably be separated maybe by 4 or 5 votes. But I'm going with Remember the Titans. I think they'll pull out this matchup and make the championship. I mean, all the reasons that these guys already mentioned. No need to kind of dive into it any further. But I think it's be a very tight race. But I think Remember the Titans.
Yeah, I have to agree. Remember the Titans is such a titan, even though the Rocky series is so good in so many different ways. But, man, Remember the Titans, I know, especially Kevin can attest, because we were friends around this time. Watching that movie back when we played high school football and just how much of an impact I know it had on me. Just absolutely amazing what it did. Really great movie, but I think it'll definitely will move on to the championship round. But as we look at Region 3, we have White Men Can't Jump taking on Space Jam, a battle of basketball movies, and in my opinion, kind of on different ends of the spectrum. George, how do you think the fans went with this one?
My vote has always been for White Man Can't Jump, okay? The director, like I've said before, knows how to make freaking a sports flicks. All right, for him, it ain't no thing but like a chicken wing on a string, like what this type would say. The chemistry is absolutely brilliant. And we're talking about a movie that came out in the early 90s where Rucker Park started showing up. Street ball started becoming a big thing, all right? And here's this flick that's purely about street ball and hustling and playing on Venice Beach. And, I love the trash talk in this movie. The trash talk in this movie just makes me just belly laugh. But then you got Space Jam, and you have The Last Dance, and you have the factor that LeBron James and his production company just released the logo for Space Jam 2. It was #1 trending on Wednesday, right when we were voting, and I was just like, what is going on here? And I even got a few comments on Twitter. It was like, oh man, I can't wait for Space Jam 2. I'm like, I can, but it's besides the point. It could be close. This might be our upset. I don't know.
I don't know. It's going to be crazy. Craig, what do you think about it?
I'm a little surprised that Space Jam made it this far, being a 6 seed, going up against some very good movies, but also not surprised because just like with The Sandlot, it's our generation and we grew up with that, and there's the people that are out there voting. So I think White Men Can't Jump is obviously a very iconic basketball movie, and it probably wins out in this matchup, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was razor thin.
Yeah, definitely could be. Kevin, your input.
Please, audience, do not let me down on this one. You let me down in the first one. But We have Marley on the show for a reason, to show y'all who the true GOAT is. And the true GOAT, after watching The Last Dance, is Michael Jordan. There is no question, there's no debate, there's no, let's look at the stats, let's look at the tape. It is Michael Jordan over LeBron. I don't care what LeBron does in anything. Space Jam 2 will probably be a flop with the LeBron at the helm.
Snap.
It is Michael Jordan bringing Space Jam through. The GOAT moves on.
I don't know. That's a tall order. We will see, but I'm not going to lie.
Did you find that GOAT? Did you find the GOAT just for this episode? Was that like...
I'm telling you, he came up to the door knocking. He told me he was just kicked out of a city park, came up knocking on our door. We just let him in.
Did he say his name was Tom? Oh my gosh, killing me. Alright, but I'm not going to lie. This one also came down razor thin, also separated by a single vote. So that's right, we had 2 razor thin votes here. I don't know if y'all can handle this one, but White Men Can't Jump moves on against Space Jam and will represent Region 3 in the Final Four. George, your reaction.
Obviously, really good. Obviously. I mean, come on, man. It's White Man Can't Jump.
Come on.
They can't.
It's White Man.
They can't jump. Bottom line.
Hey, sir, speak for yourself. I can get at least like 5, maybe 6 inches off the ground, okay?
I can jump off a ladder really well,
Hey, I'm really good at that.
Just elbows,
Give me a baby trampoline and we're good.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
Oh, killing me.
Man. The Space Jam it's a great flick, and the reason why these movies are so close and the audience votes is because ultimately they are all great flicks for their own different reasons. And something that I've noticed as I've started to do more movie reviews, being that I'm a production guy and have that video production background, I've been on TV shows and film sets and all that shit. There's a target for everybody. So depending on the movie, it could hit a different person, so White Man Can't Jump hits a different audience, Space Jam hits a different audience, but it still has the same reaction to that person. They delve into it, however so it's just, you never really know at this point. I'm happy for White Man Can't Jump because that's personally like one of my favorite basketball movies. And LeBron James is ruining it by doing another Space Jam. Ooh. So, because he's not the GOAT. I'm sorry. If anything proves it, it's Space Jam on Netflix and The Last Dance that's also on. Watch both of them simultaneously if you have to. And you'll see that MJ is the GOAT, not LeBron.
I mean, if you can pull off watching that simultaneously, I'll definitely give you an award of some kind.
I'll tell you the story. Somebody once bought me a LeBron shirt. You see me wearing it? No, because he's not the GOAT.
Like it.
Oh my gosh, absolutely killing me. Craig, your take.
I love both of these movies, but I am 100% agreeing with George here. This Space Jam, I had to double check the logo that just came up. It is fucking atrocious, first of all.
So disgusting.
What the hell kind of...
Yeah, it's bad.
Besides the point, I'm just waiting to see LeBron jump ship to the Monstars at halftime because that's all he does is jump ships to winners, and it's all he's done.
Wow. Wow.
He is a phenomenal basketball talent. Probably one of the most talented players all around that we've ever seen in our lifetime. But his impact on the game, he literally is trying, no matter what he says, he's literally trying to follow in MJ's footsteps. I'm sorry. And it ain't going to work.
Man, Kevin, do you agree with all that?
Not only is it not going to work, Craig, it never will work. Like, looking back at the decisions he's made. Started in Cleveland. If you want to be like MJ, stay in Cleveland.
Yep.
And at the very tail end of your career, maybe go look at some other outlets, but you're washed up. No one wants you. You're used goods at that time.
Ooh.
And like, LeBron starts in Cleveland, goes to Miami, justifies it that it was his like college going away type deal, and he just needed to get away. He never had that college experience because he was drafted right out of high school. Goes back to Cleveland. He's just following and telling superstars to come wherever he's at. Look at the coaches that have been around him. Like, most of the coaches don't even know their experience because they're in and out the door as soon as LeBron arrived. He builds up teams around him. He knows that in order to get instant gratification in this society, you've got to win now. Yes, is it a bad approach? But is it the times we live in, though? That's what you got to consider. Instant gratification now before people do not give you a chance. Because look at coaches nowadays. You're talking about 2 or 3 years.
Okay, but
I agree, but here's the problem.
I'll just sit back.
If LeBron was at almost any other team, like drafted, say for instance, if he was from Atlanta and he got drafted by Atlanta, I don't think he would have left ever. Cleveland's problem is the fact that I hate to say this because he's from Detroit. Dan Gilbert owns the team, and he was holding LeBron hostage by not going out and getting guys that he needed to win championships. So I'm not putting it all on LeBron.
He got Kevin Love.
Put it all on him. And bottom line, he came to Wade County, boys. He came to a winning franchise that Dwayne Wade was the ambassador for. He had already won a title. Who would not want to come play for Pat Riley? Just say who would not?
It's not Pat Riley. It's not Pat Riley. Pat Riley's great, but it's Dwayne Wade. He knew Dwayne Wade. He came up with the champion. He had to come up with the champion with a mentality that LeBron does not have. I'm sorry, LeBron does not have.
Hey, let's not forget Chris Bosh and all this, okay?
Who put the coach on the floor? Who went and got the players needed other than Dwayne? Dwayne Wade was already there. Udonis Haslem was there. Everybody else they had to go get and bring in.
It was ESPN. Why they had an hour-long show called The Decision when it only took 2 minutes to announce it.
I still to this day hate the things he did. I hate him for that.
Dumbest.
Tell me this, Craig, though. You have Jordan who plays for Chicago because you're saying he couldn't get what he needed in Cleveland. You got the same dude in the 80s who goes to Chicago, one of the worst franchises. They're about ready to fold. He has a dude from Central Arkansas and a dude that they didn't even want in the NBA because he showed up to his own arena with a shotgun in his passenger seat. And gets traded to San Antonio, gets traded to Chicago. He's used goods at that time. Yeah, he's a good defender. But you're talking a dude from Central Arkansas and a dude that had, like, possible weapons charges brought up on him.
So first of all,
allegedly.
First of all, if Scottie Pippen,
I love
came
this.
up through the system the way kids do now, he would never have gone to Central Arkansas. He was 6'4" as a freshman. He went to 6'9" as a sophomore. This dude grew and there was no recruiting back then. There was no, not the way it is. There's no scouting. No. Scottie Pippen is one of the top 50 players of all time. Dennis Rodman is the greatest rebounder of all time.
And the weirdest basketball player of all time.
That Bulls dynasty was put together by a little bit of luck and by a good GM.
Yes.
He looks like the villain in the documentary, but it doesn't matter. He's the best villain of all time because he's that villain like Denzel Washington in Training Day, where you like him and hate him at the same time.
Oh, y'all killed me.
Ain't got nothing on Jared.
And he produced.
All right, well, we still got one more region. Y'all killing me. We got one more region.
Hey, this is what happens when you start talking MJ versus LeBron.
I know. I had a feeling this was going to happen. I'm not going to lie. I was kind of prepared.
And they're throwing a tribute to this guy right here tonight on The Last Dance.
Good man. Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes, absolutely. Goat. Huh.
It's a good thing Space Jam got knocked out because this would have happened again next week.
Yeah, it would have. It would have. But to Region 4, though, we have the Mighty Ducks taking on Happy Gilmore. And I think this one might have ended a little bit more surprising, at least for me. Kevin, we're going to start with you. How do you think the fans went with this one?
Adam Sandler. They went Adam Sandler. They went with the hockey player that occasionally plays golf. 9 at 9. Let's go with Happy Gilmore on this. fantastic movie, fantastic actor. I'm happy that he brings his friends along with him, along to share the ride with him along the way. Always been a fan of Adam Sandler, not of late, but love all of his old greats. So I hope they went Adam Sandler on this one, but I've been striking out on the other ones.
Oh my God, killed me. Craig, your thoughts?
Two great movies. Happy Gilmore, a very hilarious movie, and again another big time comedy in our generation. But we're talking about the Mighty Ducks. We're talking about the Flying V. We're talking about knuckle puck time. I think the Mighty Ducks takes them down, moves on to the Final Four. I honestly think it'll be Mighty Ducks versus, remember, the Titans in the championship.
Oof.
But that's just me.
Man, that's a 50-50 split. George, deciding vote over here. What do you think?
I mean, come on. You know where I'm going. Right?
You know where he's going.
Right there already, okay? It's right there, all right? It is Mighty Ducks all the way. Don't get me wrong. Happy Gilmore, hysterical movie. Watched it over the weekend. Threw up a great review on it. And the reason why I even like Happy Gilmore in this bracket more than the Waterboy is because Happy Gilmore's character from Adam Sandler, he had to do more. Waterboy, he didn't have to do much. He just had to act like an idiot, and his supporting cast is what carried the movie.
Oh,
Here,
snap.
he's hot-tempered. He's got great insults. He carries this movie. He's got, a solid, supporting, cast around him. The goofy insults are well-timed, and he makes his presence known with Happy Gilmore. It wasn't as big of a blockbuster hit, but he made his presence known. But Gordon Bombay launched a pop culture status that is still relevant to this day. Go to a hockey game, you will find a Gordon Bombay jersey.
You will find something Mighty Ducks.
You will find something with the Mighty Ducks, okay? You will find a knuckle puck. Not to mention, the movie came out right around when Wayne Gretzky was traded from the Edmonton Oilers to LA. It made hockey prevalent in LA, in Hollywood. It created a whole phenomenon, So I gotta go with the Mighty Ducks. So much that Disney had to sue for this logo. All right? They had to sue for this damn logo.
Well, if you're ready for this one, with 66% of the vote, that's right, that's a 2-to-1 odds. The Mighty Ducks move on to the Final Four. And I tell you what, it's going to be crazy when they take on White Men Can't Jump next week. So we'll definitely see how it goes. Your guys' reactions, Craig, we'll start with you.
3 1 seeds make it to the Final Four, and who's the one seed that didn't make it?
Let me just peel this back.
Virginia.
Let me. Oh, sorry. PC. Okay.
Yeah, keep it PG over there. And Rudy goes down in the first round, which is already a huge shocker. But 3 number 1 seeds make it to the Final Four, and remember the Titans probably should have been a 1 seed too. But I rest my case.
Still hammering me about that. Still going on about that, man.
Yep.
So go ahead, George. With that, your response.
Obviously. I'm really stoked about this. This looks really cool. This is a great Final Four. It also is a great Final Four for our audience. It brings in a little bit of a new generation to some of these sports movies with a touch of old school. You got the Mighty Ducks, you got movies that we grew up with, and then you got movies that we still go back to. So I'm curious to see how this Final Four teams up. I don't know how it's going to go down. I do see a Mighty Ducks versus Remember the Titans finale. Disney versus Disney. I mean, because they own everything else. So why not?
Oh my gosh.
Unfortunately for Adam Sandler, I mean, I think we need to send him a thank you basket to go 0 for 2 in this tournament and not make the Final Four. This is probably a bigger loss than that movie Jack and Jill. You got a bad bird?
I don't know. Spanglish was pretty bad too.
Oh, I was about to say, yeah.
No, Spanglish was good. I like that one.
Oh my God, killing me, Kevin. Your
Of course,
thoughts?
I'm the only one that likes Spanglish because I'm from Miami. I know what Spanglish is.
Killing me, Kevin. Your thoughts?
It is the last time I listened to you, right, Marley? Last time. And you only invited, I think we came away with one prediction right out of the lot. So, yeah.
Hey, 25%. That'll put you almost in borderline Hall of Fame in baseball.
There you go.
I'm like the Blake Bortles of predictions for movies.
Ooh.
Ouch. Ouch. Now he's a backup. Oh, man. I don't know. It's going to be crazy. This is a great Final Four. Next week, we're going to have Remember the Titans taking on Rocky. White Man Can't Jump taking on the Mighty Ducks. It's going to be absolutely insane. And if all of our fans and listeners out there want to go vote, all you have to do is go to podcastcity.net. The polls are open right now because I am ahead of the game. So definitely go there, click on the Sports Movie Madness logo, and cast your votes for the Final Four to see who will represent in the championship game, which we will announce next week on episode 57 of Final Score. And I tell you what, it's going to be a doozy. I expect all three of you to come with a bunch of flurry for these movies. So definitely should be exciting. Definitely checking out the GOAT there. Gosh.
You should have named that goat Brady.
Man.
Yes.
You can't name him Brady.
No, name it Montana.
The way this tournament's going, you name him Bombay.
Bombay.
Alright?
Absolutely crazy. But definitely make sure you check us out next week. It's going to be great. The polls will be open until May 7th. That is this Thursday until 11:59 p.m. Once midnight strikes and we're at May 8th, you no longer can vote. So definitely make sure to get them in as quickly as possible. Again, the polls are open now at podcastcity.net. I tell you what, I'm excited. I think it's going to be very exciting. I think we're going to get a lot of votes. What do you guys think?
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure,
expecting
man.
a high turnout. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's going to be good
It's
stuff.
going to be a lot of fun. I hope to bring some fun along with it with the Final Four. So on the Twitter page, I'll be dishing out some Final Four trivia, some fun little facts about each one of these movies. So definitely take a look, and you guys chime in and see if you can get the right answer on them. As I pose some trivia questions about the Mighty Ducks, about Rocky, about White Man Can't Jump, and Remember the Titans. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Awesome stuff. I can't wait. It's going to be great. Going to be great. So definitely make sure to check us out next week. So anybody have any parting words? Go ahead. Throw them out there. George, we'll start with you. Fine. Craig, you first. Go ahead.
Just a fundraiser update here. We're at $340 of our $1,000 goal to help raise money for those affected by COVID-19. If you want to help, we have about 2 more weeks left that we will be collecting donations. You can donate on Venmo to Campbell2787, CAMPBELL 2787, and we're trying to hit that $1,000 goal so we can help some people out.
Yeah, most definitely. So definitely make sure you go and check that out. We also have that information on the Sports Movie Madness page on podcastcity.net, so you can find that information there as well. Definitely make sure to give. It's definitely for a worthy cause, as everyone across the world is dealing with this coronavirus pandemic. So definitely try and do what you can, if you can, and try and help some people. Definitely a worthy cause. But, George, any parting words?
None so far. Just, you know where to find me. Follow me on Twitter at CouchDadsPod, also on Instagram, CouchDadsPodcast. I will be updating throughout the week a few different things going on. I'll be sharing some new movie reviews and also the Final Four trivia for you guys all to take a look at.
Mm-hmm.
And if you need anything else and any other way to reach out to me, you can find me at flintstonemedia.com or floridapodcastnetwork.com. So tune in, take a look, and see what I'm up to over there, and also podcastcity.net. Make sure you vote. Because
That's right.
It's been a pleasure doing this shit with you boys.
Definitely. We enjoy having you on every week. It's been a really exciting time, and can't wait till we can see what we got next week. Kevin, with that amazing goat. You gonna let Marley vote?
Oh, Marley's definitely going to vote. Podcastcity.net. He's already clicking away here with the host.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. But what do you have for us? What do you got?
Hold on. In all serious now, go check out that Lakeland team. If you're in the Lakeland area during summer, and I got some insider information, I'm not spilling the beans. This is just rumor. So anybody listening out there that's part of the comp, fans of the comp, this is just rumor. But I've been getting hearsay that the USARL is about ready to kick off. So we're previewing these teams. We might have a season here in the next month or so. So stay in tune. As soon as the news comes to me from these owners that have been meeting and texting back and forth, and that have been obviously in conversations right now with city officials, we're looking at a kickoff here soon. There's also been talks, some rumblings about trainings that might be taking place soon if the governments give us the go-ahead. So look forward to maybe some, hopefully, USARL action here soon with us on location there with FinalScore.
Mm-hmm.
I know we had talked about maybe partnering with the USARL to maybe broadcast some teams or get some insight, get some feed directly from the players, the coaches, the staff. But that's something to look forward to. If you're in the Lakeland area, please tune into their sponsors. They need your help during this time. And I know they help us out during our time of playing sports. So help them out during this time of need. Be kind to everyone when this phases of reopening start happening up. Be kind to your healthcare workers. A simple thank you goes a long way. And I'll leave it at that because I got a restless.
Yes,
she's kicking everybody, letting them know.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't mess around with this. Be thankful, be helpful, and help each other out during this time, man. That's the best way we can do.
Absolutely. Definitely make sure to. And some of those Lakeland Renegade sponsors include Reds Team Sports, Federal Bar Lakeland, GNC of Lakeland, and Carlton Arms South Lakeland. So definitely make sure to check out all their sponsors and try and support your local businesses during this time, including some of our sponsors like City Limits Tap Room in DeLand, Florida, as well as 3 Count Design, who's been a great help for us in a lot of our logo making and branding. So definitely make sure to try and support anyone you can local, because through these hard times, it's been a huge strain on all of these businesses. So please do what you can and really try and help someone out. But sadly, though, we are at the end of our episode, so definitely make sure to find the playback of this episode on social media at PCN Final Score. Don't know what you're talking about. And you can find it.
I was going to let it slide.
It's okay. It's I don't know how things like this happen, but, when you're empty, you're empty. So, at the end of the day, make sure to check out all things Final Score at PCN Final Score on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram. Give us a like, follow, and subscription there, and make sure to check back next week, Sunday night at 9 p.m. for Final Score episode 57, when we bring you our championship participants for Sports Movie Madness. But until then, I am Chris, that's Craig, George, and Kevin, and you just watch Final Score. All of y'all, have a great night.
Podcast City Network.